Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I will be continuing my fundamental series for Nami Mill, and in this video I will discuss searchers. So what are searchers, what do they do, what do you use them for, and yeah, bunch of stuff. So let's get into it. So a typical searcher is, for example, this Gloriosa. It's a 1 cost, 0 power, 1k counter with an on-play which says look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Amazon Lily or Kuja Pirates type card other than Gloriosa Elder Neon and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So basically, you look at 5 cards, choose one of a certain type, add it to your hand, or reveal it, then add it to your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom. So that's a typical searcher. So basically, it looks at some cards, and you choose one, and you add it to your hand. That's what I consider a searcher. What I would not consider a searcher is the following. So I would not consider this Perona a searcher, because even though you get to look at the top of your deck, 5 cards from the top of your deck, you don't actually get to choose one to add to your hand or field, so I don't consider this a searcher. Also this Mr. 1, this one does add a card to your hand. You add up to 1 blue event card with a cost of 1 from your trash to your hand, but it's from your trash, it's not from your deck, so I don't consider this a searcher. I also don't consider this Don Quixote do Flamingo a searcher, because his ability says reveal 1 card from the top of your deck. Basically, you are not searching, you're just looking at the top card of your deck. In a similar manner, I don't consider the Marguerite, which just has on-play draw card, to be a searcher, because you don't choose anything, you just get the top card of your deck into your hand. One more thing to note about searchers are that some of them are required, have some leader requirements. So for example, this Leo says if your leader is Usopp, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 2 cards. So he cannot be used in Nami, which is unfortunate because he can find up to 2 cards, which would be valuable. Searchers in Nami are very good because they allow us to find cards that we need, and also they get us closer to the win condition of getting to 0 cards in deck. So searchers are pretty common in most Nami decks, and honestly they are pretty common in most decks in One Piece card game. I think almost every top deck has a searcher of some kind. So let's take a look at some of the searchers that can be used in Nami. I basically added here all cards that can be used as searchers in Nami. So first we have Mr. Tube on Clay. He has, when attacking, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Baroque Works type event card. So for 4 Dawn you can find a Baroque Works event card. Next is Bartholomew Kuma, which is 3 cost, and you look at 2 cards and you can find a 7 Warlords of the Sea type card. So you could even find himself. Next is Buggy, which is 1 cost, and you look at 5 cards and you reveal 1 blue Impel Down type card other than Boogie. So he was used, I think, a lot in previous versions of Nami, but lately he has not been used that much, I don't think. Next we have Apis, which says you may trash 2 cards in your hand on play, and you can look at 5 cards and reveal up to 1 with East Blue type and add it to your hand. Also it's a 2k counter, so Apis is pretty commonly used in Nami builds, although not always 4-0, but yeah, you often see Apis used. Next is Who's Who, which is 1 cost, and you can look at top 5 cards and reveal up to 1 Animal Kingdom Pirates type card other than Who's Who. So in any type of Animal Kingdom Pirates version of Nami you could use this, but that's not very common, I don't think. Next is Tashigi, which is 1 cost, 2k with 1k counter. Look at top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Navy type card other than Tashigi. So used in Nami build, in Navy builds, sorry. Gloriosa we talked about, it looks at 5 cards and finds Amazon Lily or Kuja Pirates other than Gloriosa. Then we have Sengoku, which is a Navy type 1 cost with 1k counter, and it can find 7 Warlords of the Sea type cards from the top 5. So typically, if you play Tashigi, you can play Sengoku to find with from the Tashigi, and then maybe you can play the Sengoku into finding a 7 Warlords of the Sea type card. So that's a typical combo, but it's still not used that much, these 2 cards in Nami. Next we have Izo, which is 3 cost and has, when attacking, look at top 5 cards from Wino Kingdom or Whitebeard Parrots and add 1 to the hand and then discard 1 card. Not commonly used in Nami. Next we have OP09 Nami, which is 1 cost with 1k power, 1k counter, and it says when attacking, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 blue event card and put it into your hand. This is very commonly used in Nami builds, basically a staple lately. Very good. Then we have Moji, 5 cost, 5k power with 2k counter. It has on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Richie and put it into your hand. Then place the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck and play up to 1 Richie card from your hand. So basically this can search for a Richie card and you can play it directly onto the field. And this is the Richie card that, maybe it's the only Richie, I'm not sure, but it's basically the one you would mostly use because it has blocker. Next we have Mr. 3 Galdino, which has look at the top 4 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 card with a cross guild type, or with a type including Baroque works other than Mr. 3. So in the cross guild version of Nami, which I know some people have played, usually you play this Mr. 3 with the Moji and the Richie, or that's one version at least. Next we have Hack, which has, when attacking and you attach 1 Dawn, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Revolutionary Army type card and add it to your hand. And he costs 4, so a bit expensive for Nami typically. And an upcoming card is, I forgot, it's like Bege or something. It costs 1k, 2k power, 1k counter. Look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Fire Tank Pirates or Straw Hat Crew type card with a cost of 2 or more. So maybe if there's some new build with Fire Tank Pirates or Straw Hat Crew, this could be used in Nami, but we will have to see. Then we have Hope, which is an event for 2 that looks at top 4 and you finds a cost 4 or more. So this is not used very much in Nami because we don't play many cost 4 or more cards typically. Then we have another event, Baroque Works, which from the name makes sense. It can find Baroque Works cards and from the top 5 of your deck. Then we have Cross Guild. Again, you look at top 4 and you can find a Cross Guild card, including itself, because it is type Cross Guild and it doesn't exclude itself. Next, finally, we have Follow Me and I Will Guide You All, which can find Dressrosa type cards from the top 5. Now, when building a deck in Nami and you're adding searchers, you need to keep in mind how many hits you have with your searchers. And generally that will affect your deck building. So if we look at this build for Nami with Amazon Lily Kuja Pirates package, first we can see here we have the OP09 Nami, which can find blue event cards. And we have a lot of those, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 4 is 32, okay? We will be pretty likely that this Nami can find what we need, and we will take a look at the probability soon. But then we have these Gloriosa, right? which can find Amazon Lily or Kuja Pirates cards other than Gloriosa. So let's see, how many of those do we have? Well, we have the Marguerite, she's Amazon Lily. We have Snake Dance, Kuja Pirates, and then we have Love Love Mellow, which is also Kuja Pirates. So that is 3 times 4, which is 12 cards. And that is around 25% of all the cards in the deck, which is not that many. Now, it might still be enough, and I think in general it is, and we will take a look at this soon, but it's something to keep in mind. Also, we have this Apis, which needs to find East Blue cards, and we have the Kaya, we have Apis herself, Nami, Usopp's Rubber Band of Doom, Gum Gum Giant Gavel, Sanji's Peel Off. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 20 plus 2, 22. Which might be enough. Or it's probably enough. I think most people are okay with 12 hits, which is why this is a certain build people used when you have Gloriosa plus these hits. But to be comfortable, I would say 16 is probably what you want. Also, one thing to keep in mind is that as you play over the game, the chances will change depending on what you have seen and what you have played. If you play Apis, but you know that you have already put like 15 of your East Blue cards on the bottom, or used them so they are in trash, and maybe you have like 25 cards in deck, then it's not that likely maybe that you will find something. I mean, it's still pretty likely, but you have to keep in mind that the probabilities will change as you play the game, and we will take a look at that in an example game later also. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the probabilities that we can expect. So I made this Google Sheets document, and I've added another tab here called Search Analysis, where I've added the calculations for what the probabilities are given some conditions. And for those who are interested, basically the probabilities follow a hypergeometric distribution. I would recommend looking at Wikipedia for more information. It's pretty interesting, I think, but I will not go into the maths in detail here. Now, what do we need to know? Well, number of unknowns in deck and life. So after we draw our opening hand, we have 5 cards in hand, right? And let's say we draw 1 Gloriosa and no Amazon Lily or Kuja Pirates cards other than that one. Then we have 45 unknowns, because we have 5 cards in life that we don't know what they are, and we have 40 cards in deck that we don't know. So the number of unknowns in deck and life will be 45. Now, the number of possible hits. In my previous example build, there were 12 hits, because we had the Marguerites and the Love Love Mellow and the Snake Dance. So the number of possible hits is 12. And the search size, well, Gloriosa will look at 5 cards, so it should be 5. So now we see what the probabilities are to get a certain number of hits. So if we want 0 hits, the probability to get exactly 0 hits, which means we don't see any Marguerite, any Snake Dance, or any Love Love Mellow, it will be around 20%. And then we have the probability for number of wanted hits or more. Well, if we want 0 or more hits, well, that's every case, so it's always 100%. But if we want 1 or more hit, which is generally what we want, because we want to hit at least 1 card that we can pick up, then it's about 80%. Now, for example, there are some cards that can hit more than 1, then what would be the chance to find like 2 or more? It would be 40%. For example, the Leo card that I showed before, it can find 2 or more Dressrosa, but we cannot play it in Nami, so it's not something we need to consider for Nami. But we see that in this case, when you play Gloriosa on turn 1, you have about an 80% chance if you have 12 cards in deck. And then we see that it goes down the more hits we want to find. Now let's say we're unlucky and we actually draw 4 of our hits in our opening hand. So 1 Gloriosa plus 4 other cards. Then the probability goes down to 64%. So if you're really unlucky, your Gloriosa has a fairly high chance to miss. I mean, it's still pretty likely to hit, but it could miss. So now we know how to do these calculations. Now I will show an example game that I played. A few times when I use the searchers, I will show what the math is for actually hitting with the searchers. So let's get into that. Okay, here's the game that I want to show as an example. It's against the red shanks, and I have a Nami in opening hand. So I play it and then I attack with it. So let's take a look. What was the chance I was going to hit? We know we play a lot of events, so it's probably pretty high, but let's take a look to see exactly how high. I had 44 unknowns in deck and life. I had 29 possible hits and my search size was 5. So it was 99.72% chance that I was going to hit at least one blue event. So it's basically 100%. Like, I mean, I guess it's like 1 in 300 games we will fail or something, but it's very unlikely. So the Nami, if with this build, the Nami searcher has a high chance to hit. So what do I choose? I think I choose a peel off, yeah. And keep in mind, we should also try to remember our bottom deck, because once we have gone through our deck, the whole, like completely, we should in theory be able to know if we will hit or not with our searchers. But of course it's hard to remember every card. Now I attack with the second Nami. And what was the chance in this case? Let's take a look. Okay, so in this case there were 38 unknown, because remember, when we search, we look at top 5 cards and we put 4 of them on the bottom, or 4 or more on the bottom. So we already knew what was on the bottom, so those cards, even though they are in the deck, they are not unknown anymore. And it also meant we had to remove some possible hits, because we knew that we put some of them on the bottom. But the search size is still 5. But still, it's very likely that we're going to hit something, 99.6%, so basically 100%. We can be fairly certain we will hit. Okay, let's go back to the game. So here, I think I choose a peel off. Yeah, put the Kaya and the stuff on the bottom. Use the peel off, and now we find our Gloriosas, which I will use next turn if I remember correctly. And remember, they have much fewer hits, so let's take a look at what the probabilities will be when we use our Gloriosas. So we use it. Here we have it. We had 30 unknowns because we had looked at a lot of cards, and there were nine possible hits because we had seen that we had already drawn some Kuja and Amazon Pirate, Amazon Lily cards, and put some on the bottom. So the number of possible hits had been going down, but still it was 85%. Now notice this is a lot lower than 99%, so this definitely could happen. I think it's like 1 in 8 games or so, 1 in 7 maybe. This would miss, which is not that rare, you know, it happens. But it's still more likely to find something. Now let's go back to the game again. And yeah, we found the snake dance. We put the other cards on the bottom. And now I play the second Gloriosa. And I hit again, so what was the probability for that? Okay, now the number of unknowns in deck and life is 25. Number of possible hits is 8 because we had removed one of them when we used our first Gloriosa. And we see that the probability was around 88%. So still pretty high. And generally we will notice that when you have 12 possible hits, your probability will hover around 80 to 90% throughout the game. Of course it will change, not every game is the same, but that's the typical chance you will see, which would mean that 1 in 5 to 1 in 10 times you will miss with your searchers if you play 12 of the type that you want to find, if the search size is 5, which is a risk you have to take, but often it can be worth it. Okay, let's go back to the game. Yeah, so here I can pick the snake dance or the marguerite. Pick the snake dance. Now we have a lot of snake dance. So we use a Kaya and get rid of some cards. So soon we will have gone through our whole deck, because we have played 4 searchers, or you have searched 4 times, and we have 29 in deck. And that at that point we should, in theory, be able to know the whole deck, but that's very hard for a for a normal person like me. But yeah, I blocked here, or I countered out with a snake dance and picked up a Gloriosa so I can search again. I will not go over the math again, but we could, in theory, see how likely it would be to hit. But I will just play it and hope I hit something, and yeah, I did. Found a marguerite and put some stuff on the bottom. Play another searcher, play a marguerite. It's looking okay, this game. Still have all 5 life and almost gone through half the deck. And our opponent does not have too many threatening characters. Use the peel off, find a card. Would really like a Kaya to get rid of some cards and maybe pick it up with the snake dance, but can't get everything you want. Use a snake dance, find a Kaya. Is it I think soon I will be at the point where I have gone through the whole deck and I should be able to know, in theory, everything. Yeah, it should be after this. I use a gavel here, and then we see in the trash there's a gavel, which is actually the first gavel that I saw when I used my first searcher, and that marguerite also. So now we have gone through our deck, so now in theory if I play this Gloriosa I should be able to know if I will hit, but I don't remember. And even now that I'm watching the game again, I don't remember. Another thing, yeah, you can note is you can always check your trash to see if you've already seen all your cards. Like if I saw all the snake dances, all the Blah Mellows and all the marguerites in trash and hand, then of course I would know that I cannot hit with my searcher. So that's something you can always do, even if you forget about the bottom. Yeah, now I'm continuing, just playing my cards. It's only 11 left in deck and still have 4 life. It's looking good. Although my hand is getting pretty small, but still feel pretty comfortable. If we have a good trigger, could draw some from that. And I mean, losing a life means drawing a card, right? So should be able to find what I need. Use a white snake and a Blah Mellow to draw 2. Here I think I will take a hit. I guess I could counter out of that, but I don't. Yeah, do I counter out of this? No, just white snake to draw. No trigger on that. Now I have 5 cards in deck. Have a peel off, and yeah, into peel off into Kaya should be enough, or Marguerite, I guess. So yeah, I got the win this time. So that was an example of using searchers and their probabilities in Nami. And yeah, that was all I wanted to go over in this video. I hope you learned something or found something interesting, or yeah, saw something you hadn't thought about before. And yeah, I will share the Google Sheets I made. It's actually the same as in my previous fundamentals video, but in another tab. But I will give a link to that in the description. But yeah, anyway, I hope you have a good day, and bye.